Stop for a moment and think about the last time you faced a deep inner block while trying to grow or change something about yourself. That feeling of resistance is something that fascinated Carl Jung for decades, and in my research of his work, I have found that this resistance is not just a hurdle, but a meaningful signal from your unconscious. When we talk about working with resistance in personal growth, it is crucial to understand that Jung saw this resistance as a natural and essential part of the individuation journey, the process of becoming your authentic self. In contemporary life, many of us experience resistance as frustration, self-doubt, or procrastination when we attempt to make meaningful changes. Jung encountered this firsthand in his clinical work, noticing how patients often felt stuck, not because they lacked desire or ability, but because their unconscious minds were protecting them from overwhelming transformation. What I have found particularly powerful in Jung's insights is that resistance often arises due to the clash between our conscious ego wanting change and the unconscious parts of our psyche that feel threatened by this very change. It is this tension that Jung believed we need to engage with compassion and patience rather than fight or ignore. Put yourself in this situation. About to describe, how would your unconscious react if you tried to forcibly shove yourself into a new identity or dump old beliefs without acknowledging their roots or emotional importance? In my deep study of Jung's theories, I have seen countless examples of patients who initially resisted psychological work, only to find that once they allowed themselves to listen to these resistances and accept their shadow aspects, the path forward became clearer. One memorable case was of a patient who kept sabotaging her efforts to pursue a creative career. She felt inexplicably paralyzed until Jung helped her see that parts of her unconscious feared failure and social rejection more than she realized. By acknowledging these fears rather than trying to override them, she started integrating previously rejected parts of herself, which reduced resistance and allowed genuine growth. The core revelation I want you to hear is that resistance is not your enemy, but a vital guidepost for self-understanding. Jung's pioneering concept of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we reject or deny, is intimately tied to resistance. When you face resistance, you are encountering your shadow in disguise, and the way through is not avoidance, but confrontation with empathy. In Jung's approach to working with resistance, the practice of active imagination is invaluable. This technique involves engaging in a dialogue with the images, feelings, or symbolic content that arises from within, often through journaling or visualization. When you sit with your resistance in this way, you move beyond fighting inner obstacles and instead enter a creative relationship with your unconscious. This aligns with Jung's belief that psychological transformation requires balance, integration, and the courage to face what lies beneath the surface. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to feel the weight of this truth. Jung discovered that the ego can never fully direct the individuation process alone. It needs the cooperation of the unconscious parts, often revealed through resistance and dreams. To apply Jung's method practically, begin by noticing and naming your resistances without judgment. Is it fear, shame, guilt, or confusion? Try to record any recurring thoughts or feelings that emerge. Feel into them actively and ask, what message might they carry about your deeper needs or wounds? In my experience, helping others with Jungian psychology, this simple step of awareness often reduces the power resistance holds over us. Next, use active imagination to dialogues with your inner resistance. It can be as simple as writing a conversation between your wanting self and the resisting self. What fears or stories emerge? This process often uncovers neglected feelings or perspectives that, when embraced, soften the resistance. Jung also emphasized the importance of dreams as messages from your unconscious, offering clues to the nature of resistance patterns. Keeping a dream journal and reflecting on recurring symbols can deepen your insight and strengthen self-compassion. Remember that Jung's work is a long-term journey. He believed that individuation is a lifelong process, requiring patience and resilience as different resistances arise at various stages of development. His faith in human potential is inspiring because despite the often challenging path, the reward is a richer, more authentic life. Before I wrap up, take a moment to reflect on your own experience of resistance today. What are you resisting and why? How might this resistance be inviting you to know yourself more deeply? Jung's wisdom reminds us that resistance is not a stop sign, but a guidepost urging greater integration of self. If you begin to treat resistance as an ally rather than an obstacle, you open new pathways for personal transformation that endure. In summary, Jung wanted us to remember the unconscious is not a barrier to growth, but a vital partner. You cannot force growth. You must invite dialogue with what resists and integrate it with curiosity and courage. I encourage you to start small with journaling and active imagination, and watch how your relationship with inner resistance slowly transforms from stressful blockage to creative stimulus. Tomorrow, in our next exploration, we will dive into a deeply intriguing question. How can I tell the difference between intuition and wishful thinking? This is such an essential advancement in your Jungian journey because discerning authentic inner guidance from wishful projections is fundamental to navigating resistance and personal growth effectively. Jung's insights on that question will provide you with nuanced tools to trust your unconscious wisdom while avoiding self-deception. Please make sure to like, comment with your experiences about resistance, and subscribe to join this ongoing journey into Jung's profound psychological understanding. I truly look forward to sharing tomorrow's indispensable lesson that builds directly on today's awareness and will further empower your path toward individuation.